What's up, everyone? Happy Sunday. Thank you for tuning in to the Clemmontime Podcast. I'm your host, as usual, Tyler Clemmons here. And we have got some Week 10 picks against the spread for you. And I believe I've already announced in my last episode for the Thursday night game, I was going Denver minus 9.5. And of course, they didn't cover that at all. It's probably one of the worst Thursday night games so far this year. I'm going to continue to keep an eye on these Thursday night games and how they plan out because I don't think I'm going to start picking the favorites anymore, especially with spreads close to 10 points here. Essentially, it is 10 points. And if you're awake, watching football, if you've been watching football since 9:30 this morning, you already know that this Indianapolis Colts and Atlanta Falcons game is much better than anticipated. Excuse me. Anyways, start with the Thursday night. I picked Denver minus 9.5. If you already know, they did not cover that spread. We won't talk about that too much. We'll go ahead and move on to Sunday. First game of the Sunday slate, 9:30 a.m., playing in Berlin, Germany. Atlanta Falcons versus the Indianapolis Colts here. No real home or away team, even though the Colts are wearing their home jerseys, but this is the only one that just says versus and nobody's at anywhere. And of course, if you're watching this game, you already know it's in overtime at this point. I went ahead and picked the Colts minus 5.5, being one of the best teams in the NFL right now at 7-2. Had a slight decline against the Steelers last week. I'm looking for them to cover this minus 5.5 spread. This is just me giving you my insight, knowing that could or could not be covered right now as Jonathan Taylor rumbles inside the 15-yard line. Needless to say, Atlanta's just been the team that's been up and down every single week, have a really good game, have a bad game, and they almost beat the Patriots last week, coming back, losing 24-23, traveling over to Berlin, Germany. They've had a little bit of fight in them today, and they've showed that they are a pretty good team on the defensive side of the ball, really getting after Daniel Jones in this game. And that's honestly been the deciding factor. Jonathan Taylor's over 200 rushing yards, and he is just continuing to pick his way through this defense as they've got second down and about 4 to go as they are nearing victory, as the Falcons have already possessed the ball and had to punt it. Excuse me, I've got like some mucus that is just stuck in my face, and I cannot get it out. We're going Indianapolis minus 5.5. Going on to the first 1 o'clock slate of games here. We've got the New York Giants at the Chicago Bears. This one's going to be interesting. Giants have a young quarterback, so do the Chicago Bears. Jackson Dart has just been a menace on the ground. He's been running the ball really well for a rookie quarterback. Still taking some crazy hits, which eventually he's going to need to try to avoid those, or they could be costly. And if you are watching the Colts-Falcons game right now, it just ended with a Jonathan Taylor touchdown. And Jonathan Taylor has a 49-point fantasy game. My wife is getting killed right now, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry, wifey. I'm sorry you had to face Jonathan Taylor in fantasy football this week. Whew, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. And I'm pretty sure she just texted me. Yeah, she just texted me. She's in the other room right now. And, wow. I thought Bajan was going to get me some more points. No, Jonathan Taylor got her some more points. Well, there's that one. They actually did cover the minus 5.5 by 6. Wow. All right. Jets at Chicago. Chicago been playing really good football lately. Their defense giving up a lot of points last week against the Bengals. I expect them to tighten things down against this Giants offense. Giants don't have a lot of weapons offensively. Jackson Dart's going to be the main provider. The Bears can stop him. I think the Bears are going to have a game. And listen, whoever the Bears have in the backfield, they're getting after it with the run game. Monungai last week is the second string back, and he had 26 carries last week. That is just an absurd amount of carries for a backup running back, that is. And we're getting closer and closer to this 1 o'clock kickoff. Just trying to get everything set up for me because I've got the games on right here next to me. I'm going to go Chicago -3.5. I just think they've got a little bit better all-around team against this Giants team who's very young and doesn't have a lot of weapons to throw to. And you can see that Jackson Dart needs his players to catch the ball. They can't afford any drops in crucial situations, and I think Theo Johnson last week, that was some of the issues. All right. Feeling optimistic today. You can already see it. I've got the one on. Not only my number one in your hearts, number one on the field too. And I hope number one is number one today, which I don't know if that's the case, but Dolphins have a +9.5 scoring favorite for the Bills in this game. And I'm going to pick the Dolphins +9.5. I think that's a lot of points every time. I believe Miami is going to get their butts kicked and they are just going to look like absolute dog shit. They tend to play their best football. And being at home, instead of playing in New York right now or Buffalo, New York, the Dolphins have to come out, show some intensity, and they got to get after Josh Allen. You give Josh Allen time, it's going to be a long day for us Dolphin fans. But all in all, essentially the Bills should spank the Dolphins. They should spank by my Miami Dolphins. So, I'm not going to elaborate too much on that. I do like the fact that Jalen Wright's playing today. He's not inactive where you're going to run a freaking two-back set half the game. So, you get 3 tailbacks coming in today's game. No Chop Robinson. See if Dolphins can cover this +9.5 spread. Moving on to Baltimore at Minnesota. Baltimore -3.5 favorite against the Vikings. Lamar Jackson in his first game back last week just absolutely torched my Miami Dolphins. I expect him to do the same against the Vikings. The Vikings have been very shaky on defense. That's one thing that I have not understood so much with Brian Flores. Typically a very consistent defense and hadn't had that so much this year. We saw games where they're getting gashed in the run game. They're getting gashed with the passing attack. Baltimore has all of the above. I think Baltimore is going to cover this. J.J. McCarthy being young. He didn't do a lot last week, but he did win the game against the Lions. I don't know if he's going to be able to do that against Baltimore being young. I think Baltimore is going to give him some different looks today. We'll see if the Ravens can get after the Vikings. I'm going to take Ravens -3.5. Next game we have up, Cleveland at the New York Jets. Cleveland has just been absolutely terrible. There's nothing about them that's been good at all. No running game, nothing. Quinshad Judkins is probably the biggest bright spot on offense. But when you can't get the running game going, you get 5'10 Dylan Gabriel, 5'11 Dylan Gabriel back there throwing the ball. And it's just not efficient at all. It's not. He's throwing the ball a lot, and he's not completing very many passes down the field. They're all very short, not getting you many yards. Teams are starting to sit on those routes. And the Jets have a good, solid defense. I didn't know who to pick on this one. I just went +1.5 Cleveland. I think they could beat the Jets. I would expect them to. They're just a little bit better team. The Jets are very incompetent on offense. As long as Justin Fields is the quarterback, the passing game is going to be very simplistic, and Justin Fields is going to be hanging on to the ball more than usual. I don't see the Jets having explosive plays, but I would not be surprised. We know they just traded Sauce Gardner, which he was on the Colts today. Slipped a lot on the field. So, can't really say that Sauce Gardner had much of an impact today. Drake London still had a massive game against the Colts. Jets, they trade away some key pieces this week. Cleveland may be able to get after them in the run game. They don't really have a defensive line anymore or secondary. It's going to be a very strange game. Very strange. But I'm going Browns +1.5. A lot of bad football on the field in this game. Excuse me. Moving on to the New England Patriots at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Buccaneers coming off the bye week. Bucky Irving still not healthy. Neither is Chris Godwin. They're going to be out this game. Baker Mayfield's going to have Egbuka out there, Tez Johnson. You're going to have your typical tight end, Otten. And Rachaad White is going to be getting the bulk of the carries. This injury for Bucky Irving has been a little bit more serious than anticipated, that's for sure. If you had Rachaad White, you probably dropped him like I did and then saw that Bucky Irving didn't practice for 2 days and you went back and picked him up. That's what I did in fantasy football. New England, though, is on a heater. Drake May's really, really good. Tampa Bay may give him some frustration today. They're in Tampa. It's going to be a little warm. Not too bad, but a little bit warm with the sun out. Let's see if the Tampa Bay defense can get after New England. I got to get pressure on Drake May. He is a runner, and if you allow him to escape the pocket and give running lanes, Tampa Bay's defense could have a long day. I'm going to go Tampa minus 2.5. It's going to be probably one of the best games in the 1 o'clock slate, in my opinion. Moving on to New Orleans at Carolina Panthers. New Orleans changed quarterbacks, got Tyler Shuck in the game. Bryce Young comes back for the Carolina Panthers. Rico Dowdle's the starter. The Carolina Panthers look good. They beat the Packers last week, and I think they're going to continue to do that against the New Orleans Saints today. The Saints are just a bad team. Nothing about them impresses you. Alvin Kamara started the season getting a bulk of the touches at the tailback position. Now, not so much. He's getting 8-9 carries, 2 or 3 catches, and he's getting like a total of 60 to 70 yards in the game, which is not going to allow you to win games. Just not going to happen. You don't have a running game. You get down in these games early, and you end up having to throw the ball, and your young quarterback, they're getting after him. You saw it with Spencer Rattler, and you're going to continue to see it with Tyler Shuck. The only thing is the Saints have to be patient with their quarterback. If they're just looking at film and thinking, man, he should have went here with the ball, he should have went there, well, build some confidence in these guys. You don't have any receivers in New Orleans either. That's the problem. Ever since Michael Thomas left, you've not had a number one receiver. You've tried, and you've tried, and you just don't have it. You have got to get a number one receiver and keep them on your team. Rashid Shaheed was your speed guy, not your every down route running receiver. You need a guy that can run all the routes, get open when you need him to, beat one-on-one coverage, and feel confident when you're throwing the ball. The Saints don't have that. The Carolina Panthers don't have that either, but they've got a really good running game. Mix that with the play-action pass. Guys are going to get open for Bryce Young. And him being his height, like I always talk about, play-action pass is going to open up huge windows. You get a good play fake. Defensive linemen are going to get out of their pass rushing lanes, and they're going to try to go after the quarterback or make a play. Heck, they may even bite on the run so hard that they just put themselves out of position. I think the Carolina Panthers are going to cover this minus 5.5 spread, and I think they're going to beat the Saints. Moving on to the last 1 o'clock game, Jacksonville at Houston. I believe C.J. Stroud is out for this game, and Davis Mills, I think that's what his name is. He's a solid backup quarterback, but not someone who's going to be a consistent starter for you. We saw before C.J. Stroud got there that David Mills was pretty solid quarterback. Not a top-of-the-line starter that you would want, but he can run your offense. You don't have to change too much. Let's see if Houston's going to get good play calls in there for their quarterback to have an effective game against the Jaguars. Jaguars, on the other hand, Brian Thomas is out. Parker Washington stepped up big time last week. We know Travis Hunter's out as well. Curious to see what Jacksonville's going to do offensively. I just think without C.J. Stroud, Houston's going to take a step down in their play. C.J. Stroud the last couple weeks has picked up his game. He definitely has played a little bit better. He played better without his top receiver than with his top receiver. So interesting to look at that and how that's going to pan out. I'm taking Jacksonville 1.5 over Houston. See how this one plays out for us. First one on the 4 o'clock slate of games. You got Arizona at Seattle. Seattle's a -7.5 favorite. Arizona has been playing a lot better with Jacoby Brissett at quarterback. I believe the offense is less limited with the routes that you can throw. Kyler Murray being short, I don't see a lot of passes over the middle of the field being completed. With Jacoby Brissett, you see a lot more of those in-breaking routes, slants, posts, curls. You have a better opportunity to attack the middle of the field with Jacoby Brissett in there, plain and simple. Even Marvin Harrison's stats have increased. And I just saw the Dolphins are going to be without Rasul Douglas in this game. Wow. It's going to be a tough one. Gonna be a tough one for the Dolphins. But hey, you know what? I'm optimistic. We're going to come out and punch the Bills right in the mouth. Right in the mouth. I think Seattle, Darnold, and Jigba, I think they're just going to get after the Arizona Cardinals. I think the offense is going to be too explosive in Seattle. Going Seattle Seahawks -7.5. Next up, we got the LA Rams at San Francisco 49ers. Once again, no surprise, Brock Purdy's not playing. I have been so certain for about the last 5 weeks that Brock Purdy is not going to play anytime soon. And every week we get to the end of the week, they name Mac Jones a starter on Friday once again. Rams, Stafford. Stafford is a candidate for the MVP. Hands down. Hands down. He is playing high-level football. San Francisco's really, really down on their depth on the defensive side of the ball. Hey, Rams just have everything clicking. I don't know what San Francisco is going to be able to do, but they're in San Francisco, so they give the Rams only a 3.5-point favorite on this, and I'm going to go ahead and take them. I think the Rams have everything clicking for them, offensively and defensively. Let's go with them -3.5. Next up, we've got the Detroit Lions at the Washington Commanders. Jaden Daniels goes down with a terrible elbow injury. It was a dislocation. Not going to need any surgery. They're not going to put him on IR either. So we don't know if we're going to see Jaden Daniels the rest of the year. But Marcus Mariota is going to step in. Essentially, they're going to run the same offense. Not going to be as explosive with Mariota in there as it is with Daniels. They are going to run the ball more with Mariota. He just seems to be a little bit durable in the running aspect. Very weird, but this year he's just been a little bit more durable when running the ball than Jaden Daniels has been. Detroit lose a tough one last week to the Vikings. I guarantee they're going to try to come out and just stomp a mud hole in the Commanders' ass. That's all there is to it. Detroit, they're going to get physical today. Commanders may have a long game ahead of them. I'm going Detroit -8.5. Sunday night game. Oh, we have a good one. Both of my fantasy quarterbacks playing against each other, and they're on my team. Aaron Rodgers versus Justin Herbert. Whew, I'm not sure what to expect with this. Justin Herbert's line is really, really, really devastated. Lost both of his tackles officially for the season. Pittsburgh defense stepped up last week. Had 6 sacks, several turnovers. We'll see what the Steelers come out with in this Sunday Night Football game. I'm just watching the Dolphins here completely just shit on their own feet right now. I can't understand what's going on, but McDaniels is heated. They got a false start on first down, and now McDaniels asking for an explanation. Anyways, so Pittsburgh at Los Angeles Chargers. I think Herbert with the mobility is just going to be a little bit better than this Pittsburgh offense, but the Steelers defense, putting Jalen Ramsey at safety, I think has made a big difference. I think he does a better job covering the field and applying himself where needed, instead of just being out there being a lockdown man corner, because he is getting older and he does get more aggressive than usual, and that does cause for him to get beat deep down the field. Going LA Chargers. A lot of weapons at receiver for the Chargers. Pittsburgh, not so much. -3.5 Chargers for me. All right, last game of the Week 10 slate. Going to be a Monday night thriller. Philadelphia Eagles at the Green Bay Packers. And Philadelphia is a +2.5 underdog. And I'm going to have to take the Philadelphia Eagles +2.5. Green Bay are going to be without their top tight end, Tucker Kraft. I don't know what exactly Green Bay is going to have in store for them. Their top receivers, Dobbs, Watson, Christian Watson. And you got Matthew Golden. Just none of those guys are really stepping up being your top targets. The tight end was where all your catches was coming from. And Josh Jacobs, you're going to have to feed him the ball. Philadelphia is going to have a good defensive front. I'm not sure how effective the run game will be, but you got to figure out a way to get the ball into Josh Jacobs' hands. Design some good running plays for him. Get him out in the open. He's a power runner. So you get late in the game, you have an effective run game. I think this could be a long day for the Green Bay Packers as Tua throws a deep ball and it just gets intercepted because it's in triple freaking coverage. So good punt there, Tua, on that. I got your T-shirt jersey on, and I might take it off before this thing's over with. Yeah, Tua, you're smiling on the damn sidelines, but you just threw a terrible interception. Terrible interception. Look, there's one guy. Oh, look, there's a safety over the top. Yeah, great throw there, Tua. Great throw. God, I want to drop an F-bomb so bad on this bullshit. Anyways, there is my picks for the Week 10 slate. Last one there, I'm going +2.5 Philadelphia Eagles. I just think that they are a Super Bowl contending team, and they find a way to get things done. The running game hasn't been the best, and the passing game just picked right up. And the passing game fell off, the running game picked up. I expect that to be the case against Green Bay. +2.5 Philadelphia Eagles. I'm just having a hard time watching this Dolphins game already, and we're 13:25 left in the first quarter. Well, this is probably my shortest episode that I've done, but I think I've just gotten right to the point on who I'm picking and why, so that is good enough for me. So, thank you everyone for tuning in. This is my Week 10 picks against the spread. I will be back in a couple days and give you the outcome of all this. Thank you for listening. Thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing. Any second that you've watched of this, it is truly appreciated. So keep tuning in, keep sharing, liking, commenting, anything you can to help me get this out there. Peace out, everyone.